Hey everyone, Dave here, and as some of you know, I recently went to Kenya. Yes, Kenya, the land where Marvel and DC come together. The land that got Cars Land way before California Adventure. Kind of disappointing, actually. It was a work trip, actually one of the last big things I did at the job, and we were flying over there for the premiere of one of our projects for the African market, and we were shooting some interviews, and I was doing general production assisting on the interviews. It was a really fun week, despite a few setbacks, but, you know, I'll just tell you the whole story. First, we flew to Detroit, which was probably the most dangerous stop on the journey, and then from there it was the 8-hour flight to Amsterdam. Now, this was one of those flights where they had the on-demand entertainment on the screen in the seat in front of you, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only person on the flight who at no point was watching Crazy Stupid Love. This was not only my first time in Africa, it was also my first time in Europe. We never left the airport in Europe, but at least we were welcomed by the second most popular tourist attraction.
Look, we're number two! We're number two!
It's about 9 a.m. this time, which means it's 3 a.m. my internal clock. Paul, how do you feel about that?
I think it's awesome.
Aside from a few attempts to reinforce national stereotypes and an invitation to invade Van Gogh's privacy, the Amsterdam airport looked a lot like any US airport. The US is pretty influential in the presence of McDonald's and Starbucks. It's also nice to know we're very influential in the way of pancakes, but less so in the way of name spelling. Dana and I both discovered that Amsterdam baristas have trouble with the letter D. My name's Yabbit. So what's your name now, Dana?
Yawa, Yawa, or something like that.
Mine says Swarly. How could you get Swarly from Barney? It's not even a name. Who would ever be called Swarly?
So then there was another 8-hour flight, this time with a more extensive selection of on-demand entertainment, including A Fish Called Wanda and my favorite episode of Frasier, so best 8-hour flight ever. And then we were in Kenya! And the Kenya airport was a lot smaller than the Amsterdam airport, but at least their spelling was probably better. Of course, this is where we met with the first big setback of the trip. My luggage didn't arrive. Everybody else's did, but mine didn't. So I went to the desk, I filled out some forms, and they said that as soon as my luggage got there, which should be the next day, they would send it right over to our hotel. So I figured, okay, I have a change of clothes in my backpack, it's no big deal. Problem is I couldn't pack a lot of clothes in my carry-on because my overhead carry-on had to be the camera we were filming the interviews with. So I had one change of clothes, but I figured if my luggage is really getting here tomorrow, one change is all I need. To be young and foolish. The second major setback of the trip was that our hotel wasn't actually ready for us yet. So to make up for it, they put us up in an even nicer hotel. We managed to be okay. Yeah, this hotel was pretty great. The lobby was small, but the rooms were extremely spacious, and there was a doorman who had the single coolest outfit imaginable. Yeah, look at that thing. The next day we took a van over to the local department of our organization. It wasn't an extremely big van, and we were a pretty big group, so this happened. So this is where I'm sitting.
Welcome to Kenya, David. I hope you...
I feel welcome. Getting the full experience.
Trust me, David, the views out the window are really cool. Take our word on it.
Then we got to our actual hotel, which was still very nice, just slightly less nice, with a doorman whose outfit was still very cool, just slightly less cool. The rooms were smaller, and the showers seemed designed to wash the entire bathroom. There was a really nice pool that I didn't get to use because my swimsuit was in my missing luggage, but sitting by it was nice enough, I suppose, and at least the elevators banned unaccompanied children who were Wild West outlaws. Of course, the hotel the donors attending the premiere were staying in was extravagantly nice. We never got to see any of the rooms, but even standing in the lobby for free made me feel like my checkbook was crying. So the whole reason for the trip, we went to the premiere of the project in a movie theater at a downtown shopping center that had a playground in the parking lot. So this is what countries that aren't terrified of lawsuits do for leisure. Also, the Vice President of Kenya was at our premiere. So standing that close to a foreign dignitary in a movie theater is going on my bucket list just so I can cross it off.
Then Nollywood in Nigeria. I think the time for Kennywood has arrived.
You're probably wondering about the status of my missing luggage at about this point. Well, I kept going to the hotel front desk, and they kept saying they hadn't received any deliveries yet, so I decided to call one of the numbers that the Kenya airport gave me when I filled out the forms. The phone rang, and rang again, and rang again. Eventually I got to a robot that asked me to press 1 for this and 2 for that, so I pressed the number for luggage. The phone rang, and rang again, and rang again, until eventually it disconnected. Yep. So I decided to call one of the other numbers on the form. The phone rang, and rang again, and rang again. Occasionally it was interrupted by a pre-recorded voice apologizing for the wait and telling me how great the Kenya airport is. After about 10 minutes of that, I decided to call back at another time. We had a lot of fun meals during the week. Most of our meals were just in the hotel restaurant, which had a continental breakfast and some pretty good pizza and decent everything else. But one day we went out for Ethiopian food. They brought out an assortment of meats and sauces and these sort of sourdough pancakes you were supposed to dip in them. I thought most of it was rather tasty, but not everyone in the group agreed. Another day we had lunch at this coffee shop, which wasn't bad. They just didn't seem used to large groups. There were quite a few order mix-ups. For instance, I saw on the menu that one of the side options for my chicken strips were French fries. I thought it was odd that they were called French fries at this point on the menu when I saw them called chips elsewhere on the menu, but who am I to question the menu? So I asked for French fries with my chicken, and they give me rice. I guess they're similarly shaped if you shrink the French fries down a lot. Now they were nice enough to correct it and give me fries later, but thought it was an odd mix-up. Also, they gave Dana a drink that had ice cubes in it. So she asked for it again without ice cubes, and we're pretty sure they just took the ice cubes out and gave her the exact same drink. And the problem is there's no polite way to say, "We're afraid your country's water might kill us." But the best meal was at Carnivore, which, as the name suggests, is all sorts of meat. They bring you beef, pork, chicken, turkey, ostrich, crocodile, even bull testicles. Yeah, I passed on those. But the ostrich meatballs were really good. And yes, I made sure that they were meatballs as we know them. Mike, you going after the crocodile?
I am. Let's do it.
Me too.
And your thoughts?
Did you put the sauce on?
It's kind of tough. But
Tastes like chicken. It really does. It does. It tastes like chicken.
There were cats wandering around the restaurant, and I'm pretty sure they weren't on the menu, although I'm told zebra used to be. Also, monkeys! We saw monkeys in the trees! Yay, monkeys! Now it's an Africa trip. Our big day trip was to a local marketplace with a whole lot of vendors yelling at you, trying to cozy up to you and get you to buy their wares. And I made the mistake of saying my name out loud. Once they know your name, they never leave you alone. Now, the secret to a good marketplace experience is haggling. They will tell you the price of something and it will be ridiculously overpriced. You give them your more reasonable counter, then they give you a still overpriced counter, back and forth, etc., etc. I'm not very good at haggling. When I haggle, the struggle isn't between me and the seller, it's between my stubborn desire to get a good deal and my antisocial desire to end the conversation as quickly as possible and go to a quiet place. And the only way to end the conversation is to buy something, because if you don't, they will follow you. Still, I don't think I overpaid way too much for anything, and I got some pretty neat stuff. I got a mask, because you don't go to Africa and not buy a mask. I got some bowls, you know, practical and exotic. Yay, bowls, they got decorations. I got, what else? I got this chess set, which is a gift for my dad and my brother. So I'm pretty sure that at least Dad is watching this, so you can enjoy this next time I'm back in Connecticut. But my favorite thing was this little globe egg. Yes, the globe egg. I love this for so many reasons. Firstly, the labeled cities and locations were clearly chosen by an algorithm far beyond our mere human understanding. Second of all, look how they spell Ohio. Or how Hawaii is parallel to the Canadian border. And how far away Denver is from Colorado. and how New Zealand is swallowing Australia, and how Greenland is on the North Pole. It's basically just a wonderful geography lesson. Luggage update. I was getting really tired of trying to call the airport and receiving no contact with any sort of human. But fortunately, my parents got a hold of a number to call in the US that they called to sort of track what was going on with the luggage. And they were informed that my luggage should have been arriving in Kenya the next night at around 8:40. So the next night at 9 o'clock, I called the airport and I finally got in touch with an actual human being. And that human being said my luggage wasn't there yet. Confusion. But then I thought, well, okay, maybe they got the night wrong. Maybe it's the next night my luggage is going to be getting here. So the next night I called the airport again, and at the same time I'm on Facebook chat with my parents, who are calling the airline. It's just a big mass communication spiral. I'm talking to a human being at the airport again. It's unprecedented that I can actually get in touch with someone 2 nights in a row. But I'm talking with someone, and they say that my luggage should be on the flight, that they are unloading right as we speak. Then I get a Facebook message from Dad, who's saying that the airline said that the luggage is safely back home in Orlando. That's right. My luggage was selected for the secret luggage cloning project. I never got to meet the Kenya clone, but I was reunited with the Orlando original safely when I got home. And we lived happily ever after. So, a few stray observations about Kenya, because obviously being there for 1 week makes me a cultural expert. First of all, hotel music seems to consist entirely of instrumental versions of movie soundtracks. And this was every hotel we were in. I mean, we heard Beauty and the Beast, When You Wish Upon a Star, so it was like we never left Florida at all. We also heard that Aerosmith song from Armageddon, that song from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the Chariots of Fire theme, which was already instrumental, but it was a more music-y arrangement. I felt like I was at some weird film nerds karaoke party, aka the best party ever. Next, hotels also have useful little guide signs placed by Aperture Science. Oh, like you wouldn't have made that reference. Next, oh, the traffic. I never left the city, but I can tell you that the traffic in the city is simultaneously a disastrous mess and a wonderful achievement in choreography. Cars turning all without regard and all somehow managing to let each other in, but just turning wild, crazy use of hills, twisted roads, roads that don't conform to your silly earthling standards of gravity or horizontalness. If I learned to drive in Nairobi, I would no longer fear death. Final observation, Coke tastes so much better out of a glass bottle than a plastic one. Now, this is something I knew already, but the week really reinforced it. I had a nice glass bottle of Coke with almost every single meal, and after a week of that, I was about ready to just settle down and skip the return flight and lay down some roots in Kenya. The only problem was I didn't have enough changes of clothes. There's always something holding me back from my dreams. Anyway, that's the basic gist of my week in Kenya. For more local journeys and adventures, don't worry, Dave Does Disney is coming back very soon for the handful of you who really want to see it again. Until then, everyone have a good day. This is Dave signing off.